Good morning, and welcome to the Money and More Show. This is Don Emmett. I'm the Managing Director of Entrust Associates. And today we have a special guest in the studio, Mr. Adam Jones from Millhouse Properties. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, great to have you, sir. Here we are on a beautiful day in Carrboro, and Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about Millhouse Properties and how it came to be here in Chapel Hill?
Well, I started about 15 years ago. I'd been buying old houses and renovating them. My real job back then was advertising and marketing, and I just did renovations on the side, and I would keep a few and sell a few. And I lost my real job and didn't really know what to do. And I knew that if I went to my father, he'd say, just get a job and get off my back. So I went to the dean of the journalism school. I was a journalism major at Carolina. Okay. And so I went to Dean Cole and talked to him about it. And he asked what my passion was and what I've enjoyed doing. And I mentioned renovating these old houses. And he said, well, that's a great career. And I said, yeah, but I've got some mommy issues, and she wants me to be the president of some big corporation. And so he said, well, look, start your own business, print a business card that says Adam Jones President, and give one to your mother. And so that's what I did, and started Millhouse with just my own properties, and then bought a existing property management company years later. But now we have about 400 rental properties in the Carrboro and Chapel Hill area. I've got a rental team that runs the rental side, and I do all the sales and investment sales side. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's grown naturally over the years. I have had, outside of the first acquisition, I had one other acquisition, but otherwise it's grown organically, and it's been a lot of fun.
So that's a great strategy. So using, so obviously organic growth and also strategic or opportunistic acquisitions to increase your property base or...
Well, it's hard to grow organically. We have a target of about 50 units a year to add to the rent roll, and that's hard to do organically. And at the same time, we're selling some of our inventory because owners who've owned things for 5, 10, 20 years are ready to get out of the rental business, and so we're continually replenishing what we're losing. And this year we're going to lose probably 10 units to sales, and we're hoping to replenish those 10 and then some to keep growing. But we set a goal of 50 a year, but we realistically probably gain 10 to 20 a year. And I'm always looking for smaller companies to acquire, or even larger companies to acquire. And I'm speaking to a few right now, but no one's ready to sell yet. So right now, for the next several years, we're probably going to be organically grown.
So for the most part, I guess you've made a decision. This is obviously a vibrant area here, Chapel Hill and Carrboro, but we have a couple of neighboring communities that are also experiencing pretty good growth. Durham, I guess, to the north, and Pittsburgh, but may not meet your criteria. Or what's your plan to stay focus on the Chapel Hill Carrboro market?
Yes, originally my plan was to have a Millhouse Properties in every UNC system town, which there are 16 of them. And so early on, I traveled to every single college town in the UNC system, including like UNC Pembroke, which is teeny weeny and down east. And there just wasn't the market there to support a standalone business. So I started in Chapel Hill because I'm an alumni from here, and I love Carolina. I love Chapel Hill and Carrboro, and there was so much business here. There was no real need to go much further, and I don't want to create some huge empire. I have looked at some other burgeoning markets like Cullowhee at Western Carolina, which is 5 hours away, but it's a great little market. And I've looked at Greensboro, a few other places, but logistically it would be tough, and I enjoy having the business here at the mothership at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So for the moment, we're going to stay where we are, but we've looked at opportunities elsewhere in terms of acquiring other companies in other college towns. It just hasn't worked out yet.
And I guess, get back to thing that a lot of us learn is bigger isn't always better. And,
right.
And then the logistics of running a bigger organization, and I guess would be a lot of windshield time.
That's right. It's logistically, it can be done, of course. It's done all the time, but you really got to have really, really good management at every site. And I've got a great team here in Chapel Hill, and it would be tough, I think, to duplicate it in another market with the level of intelligence that my team brings to the table, and having them all licensed through the North Carolina Realtors Association and all those things. But it can be done, and a lot of our business is on the cloud, so our tenants can pay online.
Okay.
We can pay our owners from online. There's every owner and every tenant has an owner and tenant portal, and so they can submit maintenance online. They can check their statements online. So a lot of it is on the cloud, but you've got to have people in place on the ground for those walk-ins to have a sit-down conversation, which is necessary from time to time. And but I'm open to it. It's just the right situation hasn't come along yet.
So it's interesting to me, as we're of an age that we've seen the advent of the personal computer revolution and the internet, and how technology has come and infected all businesses, and taken like a lot of mundane tasks, collecting rent, paying landlords, and with the software and the programs that are available to automate that function and free up your people to do more creative and I guess important things.
Well, and that's right. We have a software called AppFolio, which came out about 5 years ago, and literally it takes the place of about 2 people. The functionality is so wonderful in terms of an application, a guest card if someone wants to view a unit, maintenance, following up with tenants, and all tenants. We can create any report for an owner. We can speak to all of our tenants at one time or individually by unit if we need to. And so AppFolio software has enabled us to go from using Excel spreadsheets and being very hands-on and having to input tons of information to really saving me 2 people. I'm overstaffed as it is, but it allowed me to save 2 people when that software came online.
It's benefit, as the office that I rent, for a similar software, I get an email, tells me rent is due, and it's a click, and which bank account you want to use, and it's all done. So
yes, and it's seamless, and it's we don't require like tenants to pay online yet, but about 85% of our tenants pay online, which is great. And we've actually thought about charging for writing a paper check, because it's got to be touched several times and it's got to be processed. And so we haven't gotten there yet. We don't want to push the envelope too far, but eventually I think we're going to go the all paperless company. So which brings us to the people part. So you're kind of most businesses kind of the people business, and you have mentioned a great staff. Virtually every business owner that I interview and talk with, it's virtually the same complaint. It's finding good people, retaining good people. What's some of your strategies or philosophies in that respect? Well, the interview process is key, and so when we have a position that comes open, the last time we had one open, we had hundreds of resumes come through.
Really?
We interviewed maybe 10 people, but the problem that I've seen, really since the recession has been you're getting everybody coming in looking for any job, MBAs, PhDs, it's crazy.
Oh, goodness.
And so I could tell by speaking to these folks and by seeing their resumes that we were a pit stop
Right.
on their career line, and I didn't want that. I wanted someone that wanted to be in property management, that wanted to be in real estate, that was local and had local knowledge. And so I was very fortunate years ago to bring on our current property manager, who's Angela Huffman, who's been in the business for about 12 years, and she's been here for a long, long time, knows the area, and everybody that we've brought on since her, we only have 5 full-time people in the office, but they're all committed, they're dedicated, and they love this town. They either went to school here or went to school nearby. And actually, our finance manager lives in New York, upstate New York.
No kidding.
She actually has an MBA at NC State, and she worked here on site for about 3 years, and was fantastic. And when she decided to get married and have a family and move back home to New York State,
Okay.
I was just distraught and interviewed a number of people, and no one came up to her level of knowledge and expertise. And so then I just thought, you idiot, everything's on the cloud. She can work remotely and it's not a big deal. So we tested that for about 6 months, and it's been flawless. And so she's now been working remotely for about 2 years, and we haven't missed a beat. She's got a dedicated phone line for owners to call if they have any questions, and she does it all from upstate New York, which has been wonderful.
So another instance where technology has enhanced your business and your human resources
Right.
strategy, allowing you to be flexible with your employees. And
That's right. It's worked out great for her too, because where she moved, there's very little job opportunities up there, and at the pay rate that we're paying. So, and she's a mom. The baby's, I think, 20 months old now, and she can work her own schedule. I don't care when she works, as long as the work gets done, and it always gets done.
that's a great story.